Brad's house. Nothing special. Just another dump in Long Beach. You know, I call home. Today, let's look at all the junk that I gotta fix. Welcome back, guys. Another day at Brad's mess of a garage. Well, as you guys know, we're waiting for our motor on the T-bucket. Ordered the actual wire loom for the Tacoma. Thank you, Holly Performance. Today, we're gonna be working on gauges and the Nitrous Express kit for this car. And as you guys are gonna see in the background, we have a 6-liter getting changed out into the Impala. Now, this Impala was the second LS conversion I ever did in my life. We did it 10 years ago. It's been flawless. The only reason he's upgrading is because he decided not to change the oil ever, and it got a kind of a rod click on the old 5.3 junkyard motor that we put in, and now he's putting a 6-liter in. Let's get started. A lot of things we got to do today. I want to talk about our fuel system because that is something that we're going to go next to do, but we're not doing today. And the reason why we're not doing it today is because I'm missing 2 of the injector seals. So through this kit, you have to adapt the new Tach injector to the fuel rail, and then the Tach injector to the Nissan manifold, which is all these O-rings and all these little deals. Well, that little guy, I need 3 more. 1, 2, 3. And that's the top O-ring seal. So I've got to order 3 more of those in order to do the injectors. On top of, once we put these injectors in, these are 750cc injectors, we have to have the computer retuned, which I'm not ready to do because I want to drive the car with all the new gauges and all the new stuff that we put on before we put those injectors in. Thank you Tach for the injectors, the Tach 400 fuel pump, and the Tach bypass regulator. What we did lay out here though, and why it is sitting out here, is because we have a fuel pressure sensor. And in wiring today the fuel pressure gauge, I want to get that all placed up so that it's just sitting there with the plug and we can just put it in. Everything else as far as sensors we can put in. This is a water temp sensor, and it's just going to go in line into the turbo water feed line. Now, I wanted to kind of do it with A&N stuff, but we really didn't have any A&N stuff here to do it with. This is just a probe that interferes in the water for the turbo to double check. Right now, she has a water temp sensor on the motor, and I'm not really excited about it. It goes 160 to 180 and it just sits there and there's nothing in between. So this one will actually give us a more accurate reading of what's in the motor. Now on top of that, we have oil pressure. So we're gonna put an oil pressure sensor in, and I'm gonna move it away from the motor. So normally you put the oil pressure sensor right on the motor, but what happens in this condition is this one's right underneath where the exhaust manifold is, so it's super hot. So we're gonna go ahead and house it with the heat shield and put it in a stainless steel line and move the sensor up by the firewall so it's nice and cold and it doesn't get burnt out. That's oil pressure sensor, that's coolant temperature. This is fuel pressure. And then the last one that we got to wire and bring in is boost control. So we're going to hang this on the firewall. We're going to plumb this to the wastegate, and then we're going to run with our new Tachworks connectors. We're going to show you everybody. You can do nice wiring and run that up to the computer so that we have boost control. So today's biggest deal is AFR, boost, and fuel pressure, which essentially will be right here. And then our tachometer is going to go here, and we have water temperature and oil pressure going here. By the end of the day, I want to have all of these working so we can fire this up and show you that. One thing I made a mistake of, I did this all clean and got this all housed and all perfect, and then come to the realization that I need to grab this white wire. This white wire right here on the AFR gauge is actually a 0 to 5 volt reference for your O2. Well, our Nitrous Express touchscreen control and Nitrous Express controller requires an O2 signal. So I need to actually open this loom up and send this white wire back down this loom all the way over to that computer so that our Nitrous Express computer can read the O2. I gotta mount the solenoids and run the wires into the computer, and that's about it. So let's get started. Look at how clean I got that to go. And now I get to cut this all out and redo it. I'm not thinking of any other way to do it, but I need to capture the white wire that's right there. That white wire. I think I can pull it out, but I also think I can just take this plug out. Like that. And this white wire right here isn't even plugged into anything right now. It's just buried into there. So let's see, it's probably better to unloom it, take it apart, take it all the way out. Alright, that is this guy. Alright, so the cool thing is once I cut all this off, I can slide it back on when I'm done. So let me go grab a razor blade. Ooh, let me go grab a wiring guide. So, you guys are gonna laugh about this. Eventually, we probably are gonna put a computer Heltech dash in here. But in our budget, what we had laid out to do with this car, you're gonna have to set your budget pretty low. You know, you're not gonna be able to have the fucking Motec dash and, you know, the inky directional wheels and the 999 tires and stuff. You're probably gonna have the Achilles tires, you know, with the eBay rims, which is okay. I'm an eBay guy. About all I spent with any kind of money was that guy. And to be honest with you, the price for this wasn't that bad because O2s are about $100, good ones. So this gauge was like 160 bucks for this gauge with the O2. All right, all the rest of these gauges, I spent no more than $30 on. So 30, 60, 90, and 120, plus this 150 is, I wanna say, let's just round it up to $300. That was less than, not even half the price of the dash, the Heltech dash. That way I could afford to put it into the budget, and we have the reference to all the things we need that's coming from the Heltech dash if we had the Heltech dash. So hence we maybe saved money, but this is the way to do it. Plus it looks cool, right? It's all hot boyed. Now the cool thing about this is like all these YouTube guys have like giveaways and freaking channel stuff like that to raise money or whatever. I'm thinking when we do the dash conversion, I'm just gonna give this to somebody with all the gauges. I'll send it to whoever makes the best comment on the screen, and you guys can have all this because we'll probably put that in, and that's down the road. But for now, what I'm gonna show you guys is on this gauge here, it has an output. This is your AEM wiring, and it says white analog output. So this is a connection for a 0 to 5 output for your O2 sensor. So it's telling you what the O2 says it needs. Now we're gonna go to our Nitrous Express installation manual, and we're going to look for our analog input, which would be for Lambda right there, green. And we're gonna attach this guy to that output, and we're gonna be able to give this computer what that O2 sensor is reading. Now what that's doing is it's allowing us to do AFR correction. So when this nitrous gets turned on, it just doesn't get turned on like a dummy. It gets turned on, and this computer will actually calibrate the nitrous solenoids. It'll give it more fuel or more nitrous in order to stay in the realm of the AFR that you want. AFR is, let's just say, the perfect world. And that gauge will be helping us because we'll be able to read it manually as we're squeezing it. We need to pull this white wire off, get it down that loom, I'll show you that, then re-loom it and make it look as nice as it was there. Go wire this guy over there so that we can turn the screen on and read here and there on our Nitrous Express. Where's my freaking thing that I just had? Did I drop it?
Oh, it's right there on the edge of the seat.
Nice. Dude did such a nice job on this too. I was so proud of myself. Now I'm gonna cut it open and you guys are gonna see all the fucking connections. Now I'm gonna show you guys the coolest things. It's funny, John Chase from Hoonigans showed me these, and I've been in love with them ever since. And I'm all about soldering wires, you guys. I can solder, no problem. But if I can do it without soldering, without using the soldering gun and the torch and all that, and just using it easily, I'm all about that too. We're gonna pull off enough of this wire. We gotta send it through this loom, which is gonna be the hardest part, is pushing a wire through these types of looms. It's actually simpler, to be honest with you, to pull all the wires out of the loom and put the loom back on, which is because if it's so long, it's hard to get that in. So like right now, to be honest with you, like you pull the loom out like that. I know that just scared the shit out of people, like, oh my God, it's gonna be so hard. Nah, it's actually easier to go like this. Run them like that, they're better. The bigger part is right now, my purple's a little shorter than everyone else. So get your hole big, start it, right? Get it in as far as you can go without having to do anything. And then it's called the crimp and push. So you grab here, push it up, let it go. Grab here, push it up, let it go. See how it makes it go back? Grab here, push it up, let it go. And it's just a little trick like that. You make the slack by making it bigger. And you know what the funny part was? I put the long side of the white wire out the wrong way, but that's right, we'll pull it through. That's what's so cool about it. If you don't oversize your loom, meaning put too much wire in your loom, try to get too fat, you can add and subtract wire. That's why it's so good. Let's pull this back, let's make our connection. Let's pull enough out of here so that we can get to the computer. And we basically got to go across the dash to get to the computer. So I'd rather lose some wire. This is why electricians have big piles of wire around. You'd rather leave it long and cut off the end. It's easier to have it long.
It's harassment.
More than likely, when we see the end of this project, there'll be a lot of this white wire left over, but that's all right. I don't want to add to it. I just want to do it once. Oh wait, I already did it once. This is twice. We're gonna overlap our wires like this, so we have a lot of extra. Then we're gonna trim it back, and we're going to strip it. So shrink wrap, and then these are the goodies right here. This is a torch-on connector, not crimp style. So it's got a sealing side, and then a soldering center. That solder actually solders the two wires together. So, like I said, John Chase got these a long time ago, and I was like, oh, those are awesome. First, I'm gonna find something to seal this connection. That's a little small. That's perfect. We're gonna cut it longer than the connector, so it's double sealed. I'm gonna slide that guy on here. Slide this past where you're gonna connect. Take your connections, twist them so they're solid. I like to roll it over towards the way, away from where you're pulling it. So you're pulling it in, and then you're gonna pull this right in the center of your two insulation. So now it's gonna shrink down and seal on this insulation, shrink down, seal on this insulation, and as well as solder where your two connectors are. Now I actually like the barbecue torch. It's my favorite. Yeah, I have no feeling in a lot of my fingers, so I wouldn't suggest using your fingers. Probably use a tool. If you're old like me, you lose finger feeling, and in a second you're gonna see the middle melt right there. You're seeing it melt now. It's starting to go. See that little part right there? That's melting. See how that's going into the, see how it's going in right there? Now that's a solder joint right there. So that's better than crimping, because when you're crimping the wire, you're actually hurting it. You're cutting it in a sense. This is not final insulation, guys. I know it looks kind of crappy. I think I'm gonna add another bolt right up here for now, but I need to hold this up here so I can test the power and make sure that we got power to everything, and that everything turns on, and that I'm not crimping any wires, and that everything fits nice and tight. Because I did have this kind of mocked up before I realized I needed that white wire. That was an easy install, huh?
Oh yeah.
Well, we ran the AEM O2 sensor when we built the downpipe. So the AEM O2 sensor is just plug and play. It plugs in there and it's ran up and it's plugged into here right now. The only thing we had to add is power, ground, and then that white wire that's going to the computer. Everything else is just plug here, it's done. That's kind of why I went the AEM route, because sometimes you have to calibrate. We need to remove this radio because this is outsy. we need to get the wiring for the gauges down through here, this hole, which is gonna come back down through here and tie into these. That's about it. This green wire here is this wire right here that goes to our sensor, that goes to our vacuum, which is our purple wire from what we made our loom from up there. All right, then these are easy. Black goes to black and red goes to red. So easy money. Let's talk shit about Gary on the channel. It's kind of boring. Shit's slow. And it's Talk Shit on Gary hour. Gary, make your car fast. It looks really pretty, kind of like you. All right, red goes to red, white goes to white. I'm not even gonna tell you what I did wrong right now because it's just embarrassing. I didn't put the big shrink wrap over everything before I made it up. You know what, guys? It's underneath the dash. You can all hate me later for it, but I'm just gonna black tape it, so it fixes everything.
Where is it supposed to be coming? Oh, okay. Right there and pull it.
Sad part is I probably am gonna have to make it longer because it literally has to go right there. I'm gonna put the fuel pressure regulator right here, and then it's gonna go right there, like it plugs into the fuel pressure regulator.
Oh shit.
But it's no big deal. I mean, I can cut it and add the extra to it. I'm not doing this one until we do the fuel system. So literally it's just sitting here right now. And then when we add the fuel system, I'll put it into the fuel pressure. I can put it on the fuel rail right here. I didn't even think about that. The fuel rail has a -6 right here, and I can put it on the -6 to 1/8 inch fitting right there. So I actually don't even have to extend that. That's cool.
Was she gonna change this to purple or something?
I tried. I couldn't find anything that has those dimensions in purple, but if she could, it'd probably be there. If you guys know anybody that has the purple with the 3-inch outlet, it could be 3x6, 3x5, I don't care. Tag me in it, we'll get it.
I'll ask you, Walla.
So while we're underneath the hood, it's time to do these two. This one's easier because this one goes that way. This is our water. And this one, you're gonna laugh, I have my manual oil pressure gauge in there right now. The one that I check motors with and I do my break-ins in, like the one that goes in the service kit. It's hanging down there right now. I'm gonna put this one in and hopefully we're gonna get up to here because I want that sensor. I want all the sensors right here. This sensor is gonna be right here, this sensor is gonna be right here, and then the electric's gonna go right there, so it's nice and cool, and it's up here. Plus we're gonna put the housing on this, the thermal cool housing. Yeah, that's better. We're gonna get all those sensors up at the top and put the thermal cool housing on this. When we get to putting all the Teflon, we're gonna, but I plugged that right into the oil pressure line of like my heater or whatever water supply line, and put it in between the water supply line and then go through the dash. Nice Deechworks cool connectors all the way in to the gauge. I might have cheated and done some like prefabrication stuff so this makes it look easy. So this is the oil pressure gauge, right? And then this is -4. So I needed to go from -4 to oil pressure gauge, which is 1/8 inch NIP. So done. I didn't have -3 to whatever quarter. I only had -3 to 1/8. And I don't have another 1/8 to 1/8 fitting deal, so 1, 2, 3 fittings to adapt to a. So now we're tying it to our extended oil pressure line, and then put the. Now we're gonna sleeve it all. Sleeve it all the way down. Sleeve it from here to here with heat wrap, so that it doesn't get screwed up. Heat kills everything. So in order to keep this protected, we're gonna go from the sensor, probably right there on the sensor, all the way down. to where it meets up to the motor. So we'll just go ahead and zip tie that guy right there. And then pull this back, screw it on to where it goes onto the motor. And then this will be up here by the firewall. And we will have, if we ever have a pressure problem or a sensor problem, we don't have to dig for it. But normally these are good until the heat gets them. As soon as exhaust or any heat gets to them, that's when they get all bad. Me and him probably did a motor in his square one in 4 hours. Like pulled the motor out and put the motor in. I'm not saying got it running, because we fought that for numerous reasons. But like just getting it up and running, or in the car, we had the old shitty motor out and the new converted motor in hours. Around. All right, so that feeds down there. This is gonna end up here, but I'm gonna go underneath there and attach it. I was smart enough not to change the oil yet, so whatever oil drops out, it's not at least new oil. I lost power in that loom somewhere, so now I gotta open this up and find out why. Because I have power down there at the bottom, but I don't have power up here at the gauges. For some reason, I thought the power was wrong, but in moving things around, this is our problem right here. This ground is coming out of the little chingy bobby. So we're going to put a new end on it and send it. Let's double check. Everything's on, everything's off. Everything's on. All right, let me put this bottom panel on and get this wire ran over there. And then we'll work on the tachometer, connecting this to the computer, fire it up, and we're done. Well, we got the nitrous up, but this is done for today's video.
Oh.
This turns the screen on, and this arms the purge. And then I'm gonna put a purge button right here. So they're already there.
Airplane.
Now this wire plugs right here. Stuck down there. The other sensor right here. Wires stuff down there. And that goes down to where we're gonna work now, because these are the two sensors for the gauges that go in the center cluster. So right above the radiator is gonna be oil pressure and water temperature. And then we already did AFR, our O2 sensor, fuel pressure, which is this guy right here. We gotta plug it into there. And boost. This is gonna sneak through here. That is so loose. What's that front bolt? All right, so I need to stuff those wires that we got there up here right now, because those are those sensor wires that we just pushed through the firewall, the oil pressure and the water temperature. And once we get those, one goes here and one goes here, which we're just gonna be able to wire up and set there, because I'm waiting for this bezel that goes on here. I'll show you on my phone what it looks like. And then we'll fire it up and show you guys everything. All the goodies. Bada bing, bada boom. That's gonna go into that one, that's gonna go into that one. When we get those bezels, we'll get those all squared away. But we have plenty of slack. We'll just leave that out for now. Put everything in, test it, start this car up, let it warm up, look at the gauges, make sure we have no leaks on the sensors, and we can go from there. Boom! Ooh. Gauge, 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 ooh. Gauge, gauge, nitrous express. I didn't see this thing go on. Can you make a clutch action? You got a long ass leg. Yeah. From the outside of the car, he still got it. Ooh. Oh shit, oil pressure.
Oh shit.
56, I'm buying that. This is gonna take a minute because it's gonna get water. Oh look, and this is reading lambda. See lambda? And this is reading AFR. This is reading vacuum. This won't read anything until, and we could probably get Carlos to go over there and blow on the sensor.
Can you blow more than 10 PSI on the sensor?
Over there?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you blowing? You're not quite 10 pounds. You ain't stuck starting a Harley. You're good for like 3 pounds, dude.
That's it.
That's horrible.
See how much you can blow.
I don't want to blow after you, then our lips touch. All right, so rev the thing and let's see that and that change. We should see lambda change too. And there's TPS. Look at TPS. RPM, RPM. Oil pressure is going up and down. AFR over there is going up and down. And then your vacuum's dropping to 0. Give it gas. Yeah, there you go. All right, so now we need to wait for this guy to register some temperature, because my problem was, it was like when we checked the engine on a gun, it was like 180, and that gauge right there would just start to move. So let's let it warm up, make sure that this guy's jiving, and we're all good. Yeah, so we're gonna clean this garbage up. We're gonna put the dual din stereo in, replace the speakers, put new amplifiers, and all that good stuff. So next time you guys see us, stereo and fuel system.